Welcome everyone. I'm Omer. I'll be your host for tonight's webinar. The topic is multi-generational skincare. Boost your practice with age-diverse treatment offerings that cater to age-diverse audience and patients. So this session, we've carefully thought about this session, and it has, one of the topics that was highly requested. So this session is about something that affects every clinic, whether we realize it or not. How do we truly serve patients from different generations without guessing, overcomplicating, or trying to put everyone in one generic experience? We want to talk about, all of these techniques because we know Gen Z don't search like boomers. Millennials don't choose treatments the way their mothers did. And while everyone wants results, they define trust, value, and relevance very, very differently. So we're going to unpack that today for you. Before I get started, have to mention, our sponsors. Thank you so much, Equa Marketing, for putting this together, for bringing this panels and this in this event. They have for nearly 20 years helped aesthetic clinics go through SEO, website development, content strategy, and digital advertising, regardless of the trends, the treatments, the new machines that come. They don't do hype, they do structure. And as a thank you for everyone attending today, they'll be offering a 60-minute marketing strategy session for you, right? So feel free to reach out to them. Now, let's get started. So for everyone that's just joining in, Ange helps skincare professionals build programs that evolve with their clients. She connects hormonal shift, gut health, and lifestyle to how skin behaves across the many decades of one's life, right? First question to you, Ange. How do skin concerns shift across generations from Gen Alpha to boomers?
Just so that people are following, let me see. I just broke down what the generations are, what they're called, and the age, and make sure did that come through that way. Yeah. So people are like, what are the generations you're talking about?
Right.
And the ages. So I picked, what did I pick? I picked Generation Alpha, Generation Z, Millennials, Generation X, Baby Boomers, and then the Silent Generation. So we have 6 generations. So, and I would say, so with Generation Alpha, they're 0 to 12 years old. I put the ages too, but around 8 to 9 years old already. And I'm sure I heard that Nico's going to talk about hormones. So that's when their hormones start kicking in. It's starting a little bit earlier. And so around that age, I would say the majority of these generations have some hormone issues in each age group, maybe not the silent generation. So they all have that, and they all have their own like different skin concerns. I would say around Generation X, baby boomers, and silent generation, that's when we start losing collagen, and we start having issues with that. The earlier generations are going to have more acne issues. So each generation definitely has its own, they have their own concerns, they have their own needs. I would say that all of the generations, so when they decide like I need help and I'm going to seek someone else, seek somebody out that's going to help me, is that they all want results, but depending on whatever their results are, but they all want results. Some of the older generations or probably want some relaxation in there. The younger generations, maybe not so much. So it definitely varies on what generation you're in and what individual concerns that you have.
Makes sense, right? And now, would there be any treatments or technologies that would span or appeal across generations?
Yeah, I would say what I see when people come into my spa as the majority of people are not cleansing properly. For me, that is the number one issue. And so I would say that treatments that go across everyone is that they need to learn how to cleanse properly and hydrate, even if, maybe not so much alpha, but the rest of the generations, even if they have acne, they need to hydrate. And that's just kind of bringing it back to the basics. And a lot of people, they come in and say, I want to get microneedling, I want to get this done, I want to fix these issues, but they don't cleanse their skin. They go to bed with makeup on. And so um, that's definitely a cross generation that they need to be doing those things. I would say Korean skincare is becoming really big right now. And so gentle for me, I like a gentle home care product. I like to do pretty aggressive treatments in the treatment room, but people can't be aggressive at home and aggressive in the treatment room. And so I'd say learning how to cleanse and hydrate properly using gentle products, and they can't just be, using harsh products every single day and getting harsh treatments. As far as in the treatment room, I would say some of the Korean treatments are safe for everyone because they're just so gentle, so brightening, so hydrating. LED is going to be pretty much safe for all of those generations. Of course, some of the older generations are going to, want more corrective treatments, but just having healthy skin um, is going to be so important. And almost every single client that comes in, there's either a gut connection or hormone connection, and we can easily see it on the skin. Sometimes people think that I hate when people say skincare is just about vanity because I'm like, well, it's your largest organ, and I'm sure people are like, yeah, okay. But really, the health of the skin is so important. It shows so much when people have acne. They have hormone imbalances. When they have rashes and rosacea and eczema, they're going to have some gut imbalances. When we see with darker skin, or larger clients, and they can have darkness on their neck, we can tell that they have, blood sugar issues. So what's going on inside of the body, it's really amazing that we can see those things on the skin. And that's going to be across all generations as well, that we can see that what's going on.
Yeah, I really like that take. First of all, understood about cleansing properly across all generations. Korean treatment, something that is newer, would you say, and still acceptable across multiple generations. LED was third, and you also mentioned not to think of it as something reactive or something for vanity, but to think of it as an alarming signal of something changing inside that needs to be corrected, right? Amazing. That brings me to my next question. Actually, I wanted to ask you about, do you see any new skin trends that still span across generation? You did mention Korean skincare. Would you say is
Yeah,
there anything else?
yeah. The Korean skin for me, I just brought it on this year. It's becoming very popular. The great thing about Korean skincare is that it's pretty much safe for everyone. But really focus on the barrier, keeping the barrier intact. People can't, I mean, if you see your clients and their barrier is always impaired, if they're like, I'm using Retin-A twice a day, sometimes they're contraindicated for treatments. And so with Korean skincare, it's great for home care because then they can come in and get a treatment that's more progressive, aggressive, that can treat issues, but they can't do those things every single day. So Korean skincare is definitely one of the new trend. Exosomes is huge. Um, it's just going to make the treatments a little bit better. It increases collagen so much more. And after, once people are about 30, then they start like, okay, I need to start. They may not know that word, like I need more collagen, but they start noticing like I'm having volume loss. I'm having, issues with my skin. I'm looking older. I'm having lines and wrinkles. And so adding in exosomes is huge. It increases the collagen so much more. It can start helping when ladies, the estrogen starts dropping really low. Um, I think I'm trying to think. I think it's about 5 years after menopause. Then they start all of a sudden they have about 30% drop in collagen. And
Hmm.
so adding in those some of the newer trends are going to help increase the collagen so much more. So exosomes is great. Adding in salmon DNA, the PDRN, It's great to be able to have these new treatments that you can add in something like that that's not necessarily aggressive. You can use your microneedling pen to put put the products into the skin and help so much more. Um, yeah.
Thank you. That's very valuable, right? And I think Korean's treatments do not just, cross over generation, but now they're crossing over geography, right? Different cultures still getting maximum effect. And it doesn't hurt that everyone looks so great as well, right?
Yeah.
So I have another question here, and I think this ties to what you said previously about everything, under the hood, the engine working well shows that you have great skin, right? So what would you say is the hormone and gut health playing, a role in skin concerns today, and how do we support, as a practice owner or a med spa owner or a nurse practitioner, how we support our clients in addressing these internal imbalances?
Yeah, so with teenagers, well, actually about 8 or 9, um, little kids. I have 9-year-old twin boys, and they're going to be in 4th grade. And so in 3rd grade, the teacher sent out an email and said, "Wow, these kids are starting to smell. Do you guys have deodorant?" So yeah, around 8 and 9 years old, hormones start kicking in. Um, and before that, like when kids sweat and they don't smell, it's because their apocrine glands are kind of dormant. They haven't started yet. And so around 8 or 9, they start having hormonal issues. They can start having a little bump here or there. And then the teenagers, it starts increasing so much more. They have hormones. So before in the past, I think when somebody would say, "Oh, they're hormonal," they'd make a joke about a woman being, she's hormonal. They'd always think it's always women that have hormone issues and always women that are pregnant or have kids. But no, it's everyone. Once you start about 8, 9 years old, you start having some issues with hormones, and it affects it affects how you behave, and it really affects your skin. Um, and then as we keep going along, then as we women are pregnant and then they go through menopause, they're going to have so much estrogen loss. They're going to start having pigmentation, collagen loss, and all that is because of hormones. Also, I want to say something about gut health, because gut health is huge too. And so then that starts, maybe around teenagers start having some gut health issues. When people have gut health issues, it could be because the liver's not able to cleanse properly. They're not eating, good food. They're not eating healthy. Sometimes maybe they can't detoxify the hormones like out of the liver. And so they have all these gut issues, and it just shows on the skin. Again, goes back to, people, it really bothers me when people think skincare is about vanity. Of course, most people like, I want my skin to look nice. I want to have that glow. I want to look good and I want to look healthy. But so much of it is, caused from like gut issues and hormone issues. So just really quickly, I love telling my teenagers this little quick thing about how they get acne, because they are probably the worst ones about cleansing their face. And so I let them know, we start getting more oil in our skin because the hormones have turned on more oil. So when we have more oil, now we have more bacteria, and the bacteria are like, "Yeah, we have more food. We can eat all this oil." And so when anyone eats, they need to relieve themselves. And so bacteria do as well. And it's called biofilm. So I'm like, okay, now you have bacteria waste on your face caused from the oil and the hormones. So then normally I can get them to cleanse their face a little bit better, because they're like, "Wait, what is going on?" And so, yeah, it, hormones and gut health is a huge role in skincare. And so I try to work with them and ask them, do they have any food allergies, and I would say almost every time when I ask, they're like, "Well, I am lactose intolerant, but I eat it anyway." And so I'm like, "Well, it's showing on your skin." And so I love it. It's kind of like being a little detective, like trying to find out what's going on internally, because when our body inside can't process what's going on, it just pushes it to the skin. because
Right.
like I just want to get rid of it. So normally anytime, you see issues on the skin, it's because of something that's going on inside. And so giving them skincare products that can help, but also letting them know it is an internal issue so we can try and help them. Recommend. I have a nurse practitioner that I recommend that they can go see, that can help them more with hormones and stuff like that.
That's amazing. I think what you mentioned, right? It all starts with education. I have suffered with acne during my teen years, and I heard all sorts of things, but not what I heard from you today. And I think it all starts from education, educating everyone, and also, trying to understand that this hormone issue exists all across the generation and not, heavily focused where it is right now,
Omer,
right?
2 minute warning. Correct.
Is that a warning or is that
Oh,
A
a
2 minute,
reminder?
3 minute, 3 minute,
okay.
2 minute. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And it's been wonderful speaking with you. I really enjoyed that. And thank you for sharing your insights, and thank you for educating us that skin issues are not skin deep. There's more to it, and we'd love to speak to you again. And please stay throughout the webinar. If there are any further questions, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
I did enjoy your presentation as well, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
If there's one final advice you would give our audience, what would that be? And I'm
Um,
putting you on the
I,
spot.
I think my advice would be not to wait until your skin issues are horrible. I used to work in an acne clinic, and so many times parents would bring their teens in. And I remember this one boy, he had like 20 cysts on his forehead. So we would inject them with a Kenalog, to help the cysts go down. But sometimes they just wait too long. It's like, waiting until if somebody's waiting until they're 500 pounds to seek help, you know, or, waiting until, you've twisted your ankle and you wait till you can't walk anymore to seek help. So same thing. Sometimes people think, I wish they wouldn't think like, oh, it's vain. I shouldn't find someone to help me with my skin. I mean, hopefully, people that are listening and I try and educate people that no, something else is going on. And so I wish they would just jump on it much quicker just to kind of fix the issue. That's the big thing, especially like with parents with little kids, or women. Sometimes we put our kids first, our families first, and we think, oh, I shouldn't spend the money on myself. But, sometimes it's not like, I mean, a huge expense. Like I said, like sometimes it's basics. Like, you're not cleansing your makeup off when you go to bed. So, I mean, there's more to it than that, but I would just say, just come in sooner so we can help you
Please,
earlier.
as practitioners, keep communicating that message. Just be
Yes.
proactive. Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
All right, Naren, you're up next. So just a bio about Naren. He's the founder of ECMA Marketing. He helps practices show up, build trust, and get chosen online. His focus remains SEO conversion and creating patient journeys rooted in age-specific behavior. So Naren, we can get started. This is your time. So you just don't build marketing plans, you build a system that translates human behavior into visibility and trust. Today, you'll unpack how different generations discover skincare online, how clinics can use that data, and how the right content builds the kind of trust that actually converts. Your first question, how do different generations search for skincare treatments differently online? And how could one practice manager or owner or nurse practitioner influence a clinic's SEO and content strategy?
Thank you, Omer. Really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I want to also take a minute to thank the organizers of the event, of course, the panelists, and thank you, Omer, for hosting it. We've been doing this for 4.5 years now, so every month we bring something of value. So if you loved today's event, then share your feedback and give us ideas for new questions and things you're interested in. So really appreciate everyone being here. Like Omer said, my background is marketing, and I've been doing this for 18 years. So I'm going to share the best of my knowledge in as few minutes as possible. So feel free to take notes. Now, answer this question, which is how are different generations searching differently? Oma, if it's okay with you, I'll give you the cheat sheet of everything I'm saying to answer this question. It's like a PDF. Maybe anyone interested.
I've got my notes. I'm taking it, but I appreciate a
Yeah,
PDF.
I'll give you a PDF so you can like,
Excellent.
anyone interested, type in your email and then of course then we'll send you the entire PDF with all the answers. So pretty much you are absolutely right. Different generations are searching differently. So this is going to be a long-winded answer. So Gen Z, 13 to 28 years old. So they're looking for condition specific. Of course, they are tech native, they are visually driven, they're active on social platforms like TikTok. This is the youngest generation. So they prioritize quick, easy to use information. They want fast, fast, fast. So condition specific could be acne treatment, cystic acne doctor, how to get rid of blackheads, rosacea specialist. So this is all condition specific. Or they might be searching for trend driven, K beauty skincare doctor. You know what? That's the thing. I'm sure those of you who know.
I'm guilty of searching that.
K beauty skincare doctor, sluggish skincare expert, right? Location based. Again, location based seems to be common for people of all generations. So dermatologist near me, skincare clinic city name, a long tail conversational. Again, they are customizing it for their age group. So that might be best dermatologist for teen acne. Why is my skin so oily, doctor? So they're really typing in their problems into the search engine. Of course, some of them are into social media, so they might even type in keywords like dermatologist recommended on TikTok, because they want to know who's the one that people on TikTok trust. Skincare doctor Instagram. So they're looking for those keywords as well. Now, when you jump into millennials, they are the 29 to 44-year-olds. And this is what I mean. Don't bother taking notes. There's so much details. We'll send you the PDF. Just punch in your email and we'll send it to you. The people who are 29 to 44-year-olds, they are Gen Zs. They are a little bit more balanced when it comes to aesthetic and medical. So they are kind of, a little bit more science focused, medicine focused. So they're likely to also do a lot of research because, they are the kind of the generation who believe in research, believe in information. So treatment specific, so they might type in something like Botox dermatologist. That also ties in with their age, right? 29 to 44. Laser resurfacing doctor, microneedling specialist. So again, they're looking for both cosmetic and therapeutic procedures. Condition focused. So for example, they might type in eczema, again, something they might be dealing with, treatment doctor. Melanoma screening dermatologist, right? Condition specific to their age group. Geo-targeting, again, that seems to be common or location-based. So dermatologist city codes, dermatologist, city name or zip code, reputation and reviews. So this seems to be really important for the Gen Zers. It's important to everybody, but they seem to be really fixated on this. So they might be typing in best dermatologist for anti-aging, top rated skin doctor, city name. Now, we have clients who rank for literally 500, 600, 700, 800 keywords. So this doesn't daunt me. Of course, it takes time. We promise our clients by the end of year one, they should be ranking for 100 keywords. Long tail keywords. So long tail keywords are like very, very, very specific things. So millennials, again, 29 to 44-year-olds, they might be typing in dermatologist who specializes in black skin, right? Or affordable skincare doctor near me. So they are very, very specific things they're looking for. They're very big on long tails. Gen X, they are the 45 to 60-year-olds. So I'm a Gen X. Gen Xers are a little bit more health conscious. So yes, cosmetics is, maybe a little bit of a driver, but of the three generations I've mentioned, they are the most health conscious. So they might be typing in like preventive things like skincare screening doctor, dermatologist for melanoma, psoriasis treatment specialist, aging related. So, they might be typing in skincare provider for wrinkles, anti-aging skincare doctor, fillet treatment specialist. So they are much more into aging as well, right? Because they're getting up in the age, 45 to 60, like anti-aging, wrinkles, those kinds of keywords. Location specific, again, this cuts across all generations. Again, they might be typing in skin doctor near zip code. Professional credentials seems to be important to them. So they might be typing in board certified something because, they want to make sure that, they are going to people who have certain qualifications, certain certifications. So they might be typing in those credentials. And they also are like quick short tail, which means really short keywords like skin clinic, skin doctor, things like that. So they might be typing those kinds of keywords. Baby boomers, they are the 61 to 79-year-olds. They are pretty much all health focused. So, they are very much into like doctor for dermatitis, skin rash specialist, skin doctor, they might be looking for dermatology or, any of those kind of things. So skincare physician. Location, again, it's common for all age groups. They might also be on, Medicare or other things. So they might be typing in those kind of keywords as well. And finally, symptom specific. They might type in something like doctor for itchy skin, skin specialist for dry skin. Now, I gave you like a cheat sheet, but what actually happens in your neighborhood could be totally different. So we use a tool called Google Analytics. Like I said, our clients rank for 100 or more keywords. Now, we don't stop there. We continue to look at what keywords are ranking, what is not ranking. And then if you're like, let's say on page 4, we'll work on getting it on page 1. So it's a very dynamic thing. So don't like memorize it. Yes, we'll give you the PDF. I think 4 people have shared the email address.
Yep.
Omer, if you can just save it, and
Yes.
I'll give you the link to the PDF and we can send it.
Yes.
Even better, if you have specific questions, I would say book a quick marketing strategy meeting with our team. That way they can literally like do some deep dive on your practice, your location, and give you very, very specific information about, your particular needs. Is that anything else I missed, Omer, or is that good enough?
I think you gave away a lot of information. I stopped type because
I'm taking notes.
you gave a lot of information, but it was, again, you had specific keywords that if I were part of the baby boomers or Gen Alpha would choose to search, and how do we show up for that? So this is excellent information, and I think that PDF would be very valuable. And so continue to share your email addresses. We'll share that with you. And if you have any further questions, or if you want a thorough review of those searches in your area and how we are responding to those searches today, an evaluation, do take this opportunity to book that session, right? And I do want to follow through with that, Naren. Basically, in my experience, I've seen one technology that unites baby boomers and Gen Alpha. I have a grandmother and I have a niece falling in that category, and both of them uses ChatGPT to search. And they search using the same keywords that you have just shared.
Yes.
But they use the same technology. What is the underlying training data for ChatGPT or other popular LLMs or technology? Are they referring to Google, or are they referring to some other underlying training data to serve those?
Yeah, absolutely. So pretty much all the training data on the used by every single AI tool, ChatGPT, Grok, the Mira AI, which is Facebook's AI. Like there's tons of companies now doing AI, Perplexity, and so forth. It's all the internet, right? So pretty much they're all scraping the internet and getting information. So what we find is like almost 100% of our clients are showing up in ChatGPT and those kinds of searches because, internet has so much junk. So they're all using similar thinking like Google does in deciding what information to grab and use and not to grab and use. So what we are noticing is, if you are ranking on Google, like especially for 100 or more keywords, like every single client of ours, we try to get them to rank at least for 100 keywords within 12 months. You should be doing really, really well. But of course, if you're not ranking on Google, you're not going to also show up on LLMs. It's usually like, the one who is really good at golf, who's winning the, PGA championship, he's going to do well. Doesn't matter where he goes. You know what I mean? Like he's not going to like go and flunk the other one. Because the way he plays the game is different. The way he does things is different. It's at that PGA level. So of course, end of the championship, no big deal. I'll win it. Same kind of a thing. So I think use Google as your crux, because still 90% of local information is Google. So people are using more and more AI for, like how-to questions and things like that, but they're not using it to find a local provider, just because Google has trained us with reviews and local search and, all kinds of things. We are just like, Google is almost like how we do things. It's like a verb, you know what I mean? Just Google local restaurant, you Google your local doctor, you know what I mean? You just don't do anything else.
Makes sense.
If I want to learn about a topic, then they're using more and more, AI. Like, hey, teach me about XYZ, or do a study and tell me, compare these two products. Then AI is wonderful.
Makes sense. Next question, and we did get quite a lot of responses. So there's a lot of PDFs going out. But yeah, continue to request for that on chat and we'll collect them and respond to you. How can I, as a practice owner or a nurse practitioner or my clinic, use data and analytics to track which age groups are engaging with their digital marketing and optimize the website accordingly?
Yeah, I'm kind of very proud of a piece of information more than anything else. When it comes to our aesthetic clients, 95% of them never leave us. And pretty much what that means is just you showing up is not enough. Your phone has to ring. Now, there's a huge difference between you showing up and your phone ringing and then you converting them into new patients. At the end of the day, the holy grail is not marketing. It's not social media. It's not TikTok. It's not Google. It's your new patient count, right? So how do you make sure that you are using the right data to point you in the right direction? So we do this on behalf of our clients. The first data we use is called Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is a free tool. Anyone in the world has access to it, and it's the most powerful data analytics tool. Meaning, if you want to know what's happening with your website at extreme detail, no tool, even the ones you can pay $10,000 for, will do as good of a job as Google Analytics, which is free. Of course, why does Google give it away for free? That's something worth so much money because they want to know as much about your website as you know about your website. So that's Google's business, right? They give away lots of things for free that in return they learn so much about you. So anyways, but Google is the default standard. Like 90% of the best websites use Google Analytics. So I would use Google Analytics. Now, one of the things we do is we grab the data from Google Analytics and we create what we call a monthly report. And in that report, things you can track is like how many keywords are ranking on page one. Page one is top 10 results. How many keywords are ranking in the top three? How many people are seeing you on Google, right? What are those keywords? Like, for example, acne doctor near me. How many people typed it in? 79 people in the last 30 days. What's your average position? 2.39, which means those 79 people, some may have seen you higher, some may have seen you lower, but on average, they're seeing you at 2.39. That's very powerful information versus, maybe before you started doing SEO, maybe acting doctor near me, you are position 14.69, which means you're on page two, which means nobody sees you at all, right? So you get so much insights on what's working, what's not, and then you can also look at trends. Are things getting better? Like the number of keywords you're ranking for, is it improving? So that's going to be the first piece of information I look at. Now, your marketing company should be sharing this data with you on a monthly basis so you know what's going on. And the next thing is conversion tracking. So conversion tracking is it turning into new patients? We can sit here and talk about, keywords and rankings and whatnot, but if the phone doesn't ring, who cares? So for that, we use the forms. So in other words, landing pages where people can fill out information, but 95% of new patients are not filling out forms. They're calling your office. Why? They have an itch to scratch. They feel like they need to do something and they want immediate answers. They can't get an immediate answer on a phone, nor do they want to chat with a chatbot, which is like this machine thingy, right? Not a human being. They're calling your office and they're asking you questions. So, hey, I'm interested in, XYZ, acne, using a skincare condition or whatever, right? And, I'm thinking about this. Can you help me? And then, then your role is to, make them trust you more, like make them feel like they made the right choice in calling your office. Remember, Google just gets the phone to ring, but it stops there. And then what you have to do is, once they are on the phone, then you build credibility, you build trust. I can do a whole presentation on how to do that, and I don't want to do that. So that's the other metric you should be tracking. How many phone calls are coming in? Because if you're ranking but not getting phone calls, there's something wrong with conversion, meaning those pages are not set up properly or you don't have enough Google reviews. So then you can troubleshoot where is the problem in the funnel. So remember, you are new patients, so like understanding both all the pieces of the funnel so you can optimize the entire funnel.
Got it. Got it. So that's very helpful, right? Look at Google Analytics, discover the keywords related to the treatment and the age groups that you are promoting, and see where do you currently stand on Google for those keywords in your local area. And if that looks good or is acceptable or is within the first page or the top three spots, then look at number of calls you're getting. But if you look at number of calls without this data, then you may know the symptom, but not the actual problem. So thank you for sharing that, Naren. The next question is very difficult, and I look forward to how you're going to answer this. What kind of website content or landing pages should a skincare practice develop to effectively speak to different generation? And we heard for Ange, like cleansing, Korean treatments, these are multi-generation spans across. How can we make sure that we are appealing to everyone when the treatment spans across these generations?
Absolutely. I kind of alluded to this, right? Gen Z likes pictures. They want quick answers. So cases would appeal to Gen Z. Gen Z, that's the youngest generation. And then Gen Y, the next millennials, the next one over, right? So use cases before and after. Show them in seconds the transformation or the change you can make for them, right? Like millennials, are into preventive aging. We talked about this. They're also into reviews a lot, and especially the older they get, the more serious they take reviews. I'm not saying young people don't look at reviews, but it just the percentages shoot up to almost 80, 90, 95%, once you pass, millennials and Gen Y, and then of course baby boomers. So use testimonials, embed your Google reviews in the relevant pages. So if I'm looking for something and your Google review talks about that exact same thing and how you treated that or how you made a huge difference, embed those. Get testimonials. And today, testimonial could be a quote, could be from, hey, thank you for sharing this, kind quote. You can add that. Or could be like some people, would give you a video. If they don't like their face in it, you could have them call into a toll-free number and talk about their experience. You could include that. So, incorporating these cases, testimonials, and videos, I think are really, really way to build credibility. Remember, you want to make it easy for these people to say yes. I'm sure we all know the one-click buying on Amazon, right? Single click. You don't have to enter your credit card. You don't have to enter your address. You don't have to think twice. They make it easy for you to buy, right? Same way, make it easy for them to say yes. You don't want them to have to go back to Google and look at your reviews. And then when they're looking at your reviews, they see your competition and then look at their reviews. And then they're now distracted by your competition.
Yeah.
You want to give them all the information on the spot. Remember, they Google something like skincare doctor near me or acne doctor near me or acne doctor city name. You showed up. Wonderful. Now close the deal. Make it easy for them to and then finally call to action. If I'm on a mobile phone, I shouldn't have to type in your number. It should be press a button and the phone rings immediately. So I don't need to even go and find your number and put it into my no, it's too much work. I don't like work. Make it easy for me. So make it easy for me. Give me the information I need to say yes. And that's the way you should think about it. Don't make me think, help me buy. 2 minutes warning. So go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe we can wrap it up with the final question, right? I understand, how different generations search for skincare treatments. I am willing to look at Google Analytics and review my new patient numbers. I'm willing to optimize my website content to make sure that my treatments resonate with the generations they cater to. What is my next step if I want to take the marketing to the next level?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the next step, if you want to take the marketing to the next level, is I gave you generic answers. I gave you generic answers based on generations, based on what I know, based on my 18 years. But the thing is, having done this for 18 years, I know every practice is different. You provide a unique set of services. You are good at certain things. Your competition is doing certain things. So it's all different from area to area, practice to practice, competition to competition. So I would strongly, strongly recommend book what we call a marketing strategy meeting. Again, we are making it complimentary for everybody attending this event today. And it's like a 1-hour meeting. We spend, I think, 6 to 7 hours researching your competitors. So we look at the top 3-4 competitors, and we'll tell you, we'll literally do a deep dive on where are they doing well, where are they doing poorly compared to you. Of course, we don't look at people who don't compete with you. We only look at people who are competing with you. So that's an extreme deep dive. That alone is, I think worth $1,000, because now you don't need to just spray and pray. You can be have bazookas with lasers focused on your competition, attacking them on those specific things. The next thing I think the team also does is they focus on you. In other words, where are you doing when it comes to digital marketing, when it comes to SEO? Are you ranking for 100 keywords? Are you ranking for 5? Are you ranking for 50? And regardless of how you are doing, what is the root cause? That's the key thing, right? If you're ranking for 100 and here are the things you're doing well, keep doing them. If you're ranking for 10 and here are the things you need to work on, you need to know what those are. You need to know where you stand on those reasons that's stopping you from dominating Google and having this unfair advantage. And you now have a report card in terms of where you stack up, as well as a plan as to how to get there. So I would strongly recommend get that done. I think the team had put a link. And I also recommend everyone who shared the email, this PDF is generic advice. I really think it's just 1 hour of your time, as long as you can spare it, you should have them literally talk to you about your practice, about your needs, about your competition, not some generic stuff. So I would recommend everyone who wanted the PDF to also book a marketing strategy meeting. I know there's only like 7 spots. I just already saw a couple of spots being filled. Hey, take advantage of it. That's my final message. I'll still be the timekeeper. I'll stay, but take over, Omer, please.
No, thank you so much, Naren. You've been very generous. There are more than 50 attendees. You're offered 50 free sessions right away. Is there a time limit? Or is there
Now, I know we are giving 7 for free, so I would recommend they take advantage of
I
it.
see.
But
Okay, so
I'll just mention the event. If you are the 8th one, trust me, we are gonna, we'll take care of you. Just
thank you.
mention this event. But if you book it today or tomorrow, we know you came from the event, so we won't have any issues.
Okay, very well. Thank you so much, Naren. That was very helpful. Everyone that is joined us or is joining us now, that was Naren. He, went through clinic marketing. He removed the guesswork from there. Thank you so much. It means a lot for the generosity and for the offer and for the PDF. I look forward to receiving that. Now, moving on to our final presenter and host today, Nico. Thank you for your patience. Do you have anything to add with regards to what was already discussed before we jump into your segment?
Well, thank you for having me. And no, really just Ange and Naren hit on some really great topics. Really, it was very well discussed. So yeah, thank you.
Amazing. So for everyone that's joining in, Nico is a hormone therapy and regenerative care educator, founder and executive of HRT University. He helps practices go deeper in their approach to aging. His work blends biology, aesthetics, and sustainable patient care. Welcome aboard. Thank you so much. It was the first time we're meeting with you, Nico. I've got 5 questions for you, and I'll start with the burning question. How do hormone shifts uniquely impact skin aging in each generation? We saw 6, everyone talk about the 6, 7 generations, but it is more predominant, and you could answer with that first.
Yeah, these are great questions. And really, I'd hate to say this, but it's not so much by generation, but by age, especially. So if we're kind of looking at that, of course, Ange hit on teens to early 20s to even early 30s when it comes to men and women, certainly seeing much more acne in those stages of life, obviously, as it relates to hormones, especially as men and women are going through puberty, potentially going through, in their 20s and 30s, pregnancies and things of that nature. And just so there's a lot of changes going on in those early years. Ange hit on a couple really interesting things that I think are worth, doubling down on. Gut health, endocrine disruptors, all these things that exist in our world today that are really novel and playing such a deep role in our body's own ability or inability to really continue forward with what it would normally be doing. So, for example, many of the chemicals that we use in aesthetics, I think I've seen a big shift in this, but certainly back in the 90s, we're just chock full of these endocrine disrupting chemicals, be they phthalates or parabens, artificial dyes and fragrances. And we know now that many of them are estrogenic in their nature. And again, estrogen isn't necessarily the big bad guy, but certainly too much estrogen can create a disbalance. It also affects the microbiome, both on the skin and on the inside in the GI tract. And so, again, we're seeing this interesting shift because even, menarche was, classically many years ago in early teens to even late teens. And now we're seeing it as young as 9 and 10 years old. So there's something quite literally in the water these days that is shifting our hormones. And I think a lot of that has to do with our environmental impacts. That being said, as we go, to these, earlier generations, Gen X and whatnot, what we're really seeing is the travesty of the lack of hormone replacement therapy at large, where these women and men are losing skin elasticity, skin integrity. If you've ever seen an elderly person, their hand, the skin is so thin and fragile. Oftentimes they get sores and wounds and bruises very easily. And a lot of that just has to do with the fact that their estradiol is completely gone. They have no support of the collagen synthesis anymore. They don't have the anti-inflammatory properties that so many of the sex hormones provide. And so again, we're seeing disparities on either end. And you could almost say we have too much hormones on the earlier side of, or the more recent generations, and then just this complete lack of hormones in the much earlier generations.
Wow, that's a good summary and distinction. Let's talk about some differences in skincare and regenerative medicines when it comes to pre-menopausal clients versus peri or postmenopausal. You did mention, the generation and problems being flipped, but what do you see specifically for these clients?
Yeah, probably one of the most obvious differentiators would be estradiol. So when we're classifying, especially females pre-menopausal, in general, blanket statement, the vast majority of our young female patients produce copious amounts of estrogen and estradiol. That is rarely something that we're worried about. And in fact, again, speaking to the fact that many of the products that are just in and around us are creating a very estrogen dominant environment alone is enough to say. Whereas again, when we shift into perimenopause and especially into menopause and postmenopause, what we are now seeing is this complete loss of estradiol. Progesterone is slowly but surely also in a pretty severe decline. And so what we see in terms of skin is this drastic change from acne, oily skin, maybe even rashes and things of that nature, sensitivity to histamines. And then all of a sudden we shift to dry skin, brittle skin, skin that doesn't seem to have much sustenance to it or vibrancy. And again, all that is really showing is just this deterioration of what used to be hopefully healthy and natural hormones.
Makes sense. And, as a provider, now I've understood that this is the treatment to provide and it's a need. Moving from reactive to regenerative medicines, how can we integrate hormone replacement into aesthetic practices to support long-term skin health for our existing clients and also for those who have not had that support?
Well, I love this question. And I would say that hormone replacement therapy, and again, I'm biased. I love hormones, but I think hormone replacement therapy is foundational, quite literally. I think it is a medicine that should be used at large. I think it is a medicine that should be used for our younger patients. I mean, I talk all the time about how much of my clinic is made up of these very interesting 20-year-olds who saw something on TikTok about hormones. And I think Naren kind of touched on this a little bit, but those younger generations, they're not interested in institutions anymore. They have a total distrust of the CDC and even their primary care doctors. They just don't have trust in those people. They trust their lifestyle experts, their gurus on TikTok and whatever. And a lot of people might feel strongly about that, but I feel that is in fact really interesting. And so they find their way into some of our clinics, and I think that's fantastic. Whereas with our older generations, it's kind of like pulling teeth just to get them into the door and get them to trust us. But nonetheless, I think that hormone replacement therapy is in the zeitgeist, so to speak. I think it's very approachable because it's very real and tangible in a lot of ways. Not only can we share our subjective experiences of what it feels like to have very dry skin or very thin skin, or maybe just a lack of libido and all those other things, but we can also measure that very clearly on blood serum levels, and we can then apply those hormones and watch the levels rise, and we can watch the symptoms go away. And so I think that hormone replacement therapy for a long period of time was scary for both patients and providers. I think that is moving away. Now it is more of a question of how do I get this into the clinic, and how do I, as a provider, educate and feel confident around this so that it's not scary to me and I can provide this service. So truly that was the reason I, created HRT University was we need to gain more competency so we can become more confident in prescribing hormones to the masses.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Nico, I do have a request. I think for one of the aesthetic practices that I work who wants to do it and is not sure, would you be able to help them create some sort of a form or a survey that they could send to their existing clientele just to get the feel of things, right?
Yeah, of
Just
course.
understanding,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
I think that would be extremely helpful for them to understand the voice of their current patients and what do they think about it, and then make that decision.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Next question. In your experience, what are the most underrated treatments that work across age groups?
Well, I'm going to pick on hormones. So I'll stay in my lane, I guess. I think that, again, I think this is another interesting piece. I think hormone replacement therapy is still to this day commonly associated with old men and old women. When you're falling apart and your wheels are falling off, now we can give you hormones. That is, in my universe, is completely gone to the wayside. I see hormone replacement therapy as something that, God forbid, a 13 or 14-year-old female should have access to if they need to. Same with men. So often we think of, again, hormone replacement therapy as oh yeah, menopausal women need that. But what about your females with PCOS or endometriosis? Or what about females with horrible acne? And we're just throwing these Band-Aids of birth control at them and potentially making their long-term situation far worse and their health outcomes far worse, rather than just giving them bioidentical hormones that they need and love and supports their entire organism. So I think in a lot of ways, we just have to change our perspective around this. I always tell people, we wouldn't tell a diabetic, well, I'll give you insulin when you turn 30. We never say that to a diabetic. We would just say, well, I'm going to give you insulin because it's going to make your quality of life so much better. And here's all the literature to support that. And I see no difference between the sex hormones and insulin, for example.
Amazing. I like I think what resonates with you and Ange as well is the education, right? Because there's a focus group of patients or generations that have the advantages or know that this is available to them, and there are other groups that don't think it is available to them, and they lack on that, right? Final question: how can I, as a practice owner or running the clinic, build trust and loyalty among older paid clients while staying relevant to younger generation?
Patience is key with the older generations. Really understanding where they're coming from. They are coming from a universe where their medical providers were, gods amongst men. They knew everything. Everything was up in their heads. There was no Google. There was no ChatGPT. Anything that they said was gospel, and you trusted them. And unfortunately, I think that's been shown to not be so successful in a lot of ways. And so now, again, we're having some of these baby boomers and Gen X patients coming through our door, and they're very timid. They're very skeptical still. They want to put their trust in you, but they don't understand why you're a nurse practitioner and why do you give hormones. And my doctor said it's a terrible idea and I'm going to get cancer. So it really is just listening, observing. What are they really saying when they're afraid of X, Y, or Z? How can I, are they someone who is driven by visual learning, and maybe showing them data would be helpful? Whether that be a study or something like that, and walking them through that. Maybe drawing on a whiteboard might be really helpful for them to help them connect some ideas, giving them analogies that they can cling to. A favorite one of mine is, a lot of patients will say, well, Nico, I'm really afraid of hormones and I'm scared of them. And I said, well, were you afraid of oxycodone when you got your knee surgery? Let's be real here. There's so many things that you've taken in your life, whether you realize it or not, that are far more dangerous and detrimental than hormones are. And so just getting them, again, to kind of become accustomed to shifting their perspective slowly is, I think, one of the best ways you can build trust and rapport with that older generation.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much, Nico. That was very valuable, and I will definitely reach out to you. with respect to that request for the form.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ange, so much as well, and Naren for sharing this. I think we have three speakers, three different experts, three clear thought processes, but the message is clear. We don't need to serve everyone the same, but you do need to serve everyone with intention, right? And whether it's through personalized treatment, tailored messaging, or internal alignment, we have the framework to reach across generation with exceptional clarity and care. And we will be excited to meet with you again in another webinar. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Ange. Thank you, Naren. And everyone have a blessed weekend.